Seemingly harmless Facebook post turns into a nightmare for a group of small-town friends. Chelsea Klein, age 25, was known as the fun-loving girl among her circle of friends in the small rural town of Melcroft, Pennsylvania. She was a young single mother who always had a positive attitude, and her enthusiasm for life was nothing short of contagious.
Before we begin, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
Chelsea had been dating a man named Tim Smith for several months. At first, their relationship was wonderful. Tim was attentive and loving. Soon, however, his constant attention became more smothering than anything else, and it was too much for Chelsea. Eventually, Tim's possessive behavior drove Chelsea away, and the two broke up. Not long after, Chelsea started spending time with a local man named Billy Potterfield, age 27. Little did she know her new relationship would place her front and center of a horrific tragedy. Chelsea's friends and family thought her ex-boyfriend was kind-hearted, but they knew Tim had another side to him that was alarming. He loved drinking heavily and shooting guns. It was safe to say he had an infatuation with firearms. In a town as small as Melcroft, nothing was secret, and when Tim discovered Chelsea had started seeing someone else, he grew jealous of Chelsea and Billy's new relationship. He didn't make any attempt to hide his feelings. Over the next few months, Tim stalked Chelsea. He left items on her car while she was at work. Once he left beer and scratch-off lottery tickets. Another time it was a bouquet of flowers. He clearly wasn't over their relationship, and it was slowly eating away at him. Despite her usually sunny disposition, Chelsea couldn't help but feel stressed. One evening, she posted a status on Facebook that read, "After this week, I really need to be taken out on a date or by a sniper. Either one is fine with me at this point." The post garnered one comment. The first and only comment on Chelsea's post was from none other than Tim, who wrote simply, "I could do both." No one took this message as a threat, and life continued as usual until a few days later. 4 days after Tim's strange Facebook comment, Chelsea, Billy, Chelsea's half-brother Seth, and their mutual friends Courtney and Sammy met at a local restaurant called Tall Cedars. However, when they arrived, Tim was also there, and he immediately started an altercation with Billy. Words were exchanged between the two men, and they agreed to meet at a local car wash later that night to settle the dispute with their fists. Chelsea and Billy jumped in one car, and the other three followed behind in another vehicle. However, they had no idea of the horror that awaited them. Chelsea and Billy arrived at the car wash around 3 a.m. They walked to the rear where they knew Tim was waiting. What they didn't know, however, was that he was also armed with 3 fully loaded guns and a ballistics vest. As they rounded the corner, he murdered the pair in cold blood. Then he waited for the rest to arrive. As soon as the other car pulled into the parking lot, Tim opened fire, shattering the windows and instantly killing both Seth and Courtney. He then turned the gun on himself and pulled the trigger. The only survivor of the nightmare was Sammy, who crouched down in the back seat, terrified during the chaos. Police arrived at the horrific bloodbath shortly after it ended and were shocked at what they found. The residents of Melcroft were in disbelief at the events too. The town lost 4 young adults who had bright futures ahead of them: Chelsea Klein, Seth Klein, Courtney Snyder, and Billy Porterfield. Friends and family all consoled each other during the aftermath. After details of the incident emerged, everyone was left wondering why no one had taken Tim's sinister Facebook response more seriously. If authorities were alerted, could they have prevented his deadly actions? Vigils were quickly held for the victims, and people from all over Melcroft and the surrounding towns came to show their solidarity. It was an event that affected far too many innocent lives. All around Melcroft were tributes to the victims. It seemed that everyone wanted to take part in paying their respects. The town knew it was going to be a while before any sort of normalcy returned. Not only were there physical memorial sites built, but many friends of the victims' families set up charities to raise money for their funeral expenses. None of the families were prepared to bury their children, nor should they have been. One of the most heartbreaking details about the tragedy was that Chelsea and Courtney would never see their beautiful children grow into adults. Luckily, friends and family will tell the children how truly special their mothers were. Tim Smith's heinous actions resulted in an entire town mourning the loss of 4 beloved residents. It's hard to say whether this tragedy could have been prevented if Tim's Facebook comment was investigated, but it's a sobering reminder that serious threats should be taken seriously, even on social media. This heartbreaking story is a reminder that abusive behavior or harassment, especially from someone with a violent history or hobby, should not be ignored. Hopefully, the families of the victims can move forward with some sense of closure from these terrible events.